I'll try to follow precedents and be as quick as possible about this. The Salawat, as the name suggests, were traditionally stone masons or sang tarashi, sila meaning stone and lang being the one who works with stone. They have also been known as the sutradar, or the one with the thread, which was used for measuring the stone and the plot on which the building was about to be constructed. The root of this community can be traced back to the 17th century, and it can be seen through different sources that they enjoyed a high status equivalent to state architects. While the community originates from Rajasthan, they moved and migrated as different guilds as dictated by their profession. Today, they can be found in many areas in India, including Durganpur, Jodhpur, Udaipur, Jaisalmer, Ajmer, Jaipur, Nagwar, Madhya Pradesh, and Maharashtra. In Pakistan, however, they are concentrated in only 3 areas, that being Sakkar, Hyderabad, and Karachi. Originally Hindus, they converted to Islam by the forefathers of Pir Pagara and now belong to Hanafi sect. The small community in Pakistan is registered under the Muslim Marwari Salawata Jamaat, Jaisalmer, Karachi. You can actually see that plaque in their graveyards, and forms a populace of only 10,000 families. In Karachi, they are situated in the area of Ranchor Line, later renamed as Gazdarabad in honor of Mr. Muhammad Hashim Gazdar, who served as the mayor of Karachi in May 1941 to 42. This community has several different traditions that have failed to evolve in the current worldviews. The practice of a woman taking her child from home to home after the circumcision was a way of announcing their commitment to the new religion. Many of their practices can still be traced back to the land of origins. For example, on the occasions of a ceremony or good news, thalis are beaten. As a community, they have their own script, folk tales, and their own music, which has evolved again from the beating of the thalis. But all of this is slowly being endangered. The contribution of the Salawat community within the city are numerous. This includes the KMC building. They are known to be the masons who built it, the Meriwether Tower, Mohata Palace, Sindh High Court building, Hoti Market. Besides that, the Globe outside Islamia College, and Nashiman Cinema, just to name a few. They were the most sought after craftsmen of their time due to their command of the techniques of their craft. However, the community is no longer associated with this trade that was a part of their identity. The most obvious reasons are economical, as the mode of construction is no longer relevant to our times and has meant a major uprooting of these people from their source of identity. Pinpointing to an exact moment in history as to when this shift occurred is not a possibility at the moment due to the lack of documentation. Only 2 people are still associated with the stone carving done in the traditional manner. Others have moved on to marble cutting, adopted machines for stone cutting, or have simply taken up other professions. The most remarkable feature of this community and their contribution is their own graveyard. This graveyard is of extreme cultural and architectural importance and is looked after by the Qabristan Committee. These are the members of the Qabristan Committee who have been extremely helpful to me during my research. Located near Dhobighat, the graveyard is almost 400 years old, with many of the graves now sunk into the ground level. The thing that makes this a true testament of their heritage is these headstones that they have made, mostly by the relatives of the person buried in these graves. As per the community oral history, the person who was buried was the original mason of a particular building, and the headstone shows that building carved over here. I just want to show the different aspects of the graveyard. This is the most current mode of construction that they have adopted, because the community, as I mentioned, is no longer associated with this craft. But these headstones have been designed in the shape of the buildings. The construction evolved from stone into marble, in which mostly Taj Mahal and the images of Medina and Makkah are visible, until finally progressing to cement and colorcrete as a building material. So again, these are all carved graves. This is a headstone that is actually a replica of the Hawa Mahal in Jaipur. This is the depiction of the High Court with extreme details. Even the steps have been carved. This is marble that they started using. Now, The main point of this research was to have a closer look at one of the graves, because not every grave is that easily recognizable and identifiable to a building. We started looking at this particular grave, which is, I'm just going to call it for this purpose, grave X, and try to figure out the building that was documented here. The closest guess that I could make was Frere Hall, and indeed when one started analyzing the 4 elevations, there seems to be a resemblance, although it's not in 100%. As you can see, there's just a slight resemblance with the arches, with the way the columns are. The arches and columns on the side seem to capture the essence of the building in general, but having said that, there still remain a lot of differences. Grave X seems to use no lime mortar for keeping the stone together. That is not true for Frere Hall. This is a major difference with regards to the building technique. However, when one looks at the other buildings that were associated with the community, in particularly the Jaisalmer fort, there is a pattern. No lime mortar has been used in the construction of the fort as well. Therefore, one can conclude that this was an introduction by the Western methods of technology and traditional modes that the British adopted and used over here. At this point, it also should be noted that the community status started dropping from architects to mere masons and labor class. There's this also another difference is the layout of the stone. The stone at the grave is very, there is a hand-cut quality to it. However, that quality cannot be seen in the stone of Frere Hall. The other great difference lies in the column. In Frere Hall, the main supportive columns are square. Are square, while the more decorative ones are cylindrical. The same can be seen in grave X. Another point to note is that while in particular the fan-like symbol can be found on both, there is a variation in the way it has been used. While there are many similarities, there are a lot of disparities as well. So just to the column, if you see, you'll find that 3-winged fan symbol on both of them, but there's a difference in usage. However, that symbol is very particular for it just to be a coincidence to exist in both the buildings. This particular grave, all right. I'm just going to conclude with the next slide. Now, I started looking at another one of the grave, which was a depiction of the Meriwether Tower. If you look at the Meriwether Tower, there's also a note over there. ये Meriwether Tower सिलावट जमात के महानास मस्त्रियों ने 1 साल के अरसे में तैयार किया. Muslim Marwadi Salawat Jamaat, 1845. In 1844, the foundation was laid for the Meriwether Tower. However, it was not officially inaugurated for 20 years. However, this claim remains over here. And also, there is a slight variation in the original building and the headstone, which means that the masons took certain liberties when designing these graves. When starting off this research, I was inclined to take the view that these probably will be elevations of the building that they were working on, usually as a 3D sculpture carved out of stone, very much like what the architects would do for their clients. And since the practice of burying their dead does not exist in Rajasthan, it is our good luck that these architects have survived in this manner. However, after studying this particular grave and the Meriwether example, this does not seem to be the right conclusion, and there seems to be more to the story. It actually seems that these structures, the community has placed their own sensibilities in their own way as a dedication to the loved one. And while the Salawats may have held a high position in the royal courts of Rajasthan, the status quo changed completely after the West interfered in this region. This must surely have been a setback for the community, one from which they have yet to recover. The basis for this research has all been oral accounts and the on-site analysis, and one of the reasons for this remains the fact that there's hardly any structures or documentation on their working. But we hope to change that as this research moves forward. Thank you.